Welcome into another episode of the Young Dad Podcast. I'm Jay, and with me today is my co-host, co-captain, Aaron, and joining us today is Kyle from Superhuman Fathers onto the podcast. How are you guys doing today?
I'm killing it, dude.
Killing it.
Yeah, I'm doing all right myself. Killing it as well.
Excellent to hear, gents. Well, Kyle, first off, thank you so much for joining us. We know you're a busy guy. We know you have an awesome coaching business. You do a lot of different things. Podcast with the wife now, I see, that just launched. And from what I understand, you and your wife, Whitney, have been married for over 20 years, have 5 children, and both run thriving coaching businesses that have literally changed dozens, hundreds. Are you guys at the thousands of lives yet?
We're at thousands for sure. We've got 500 members, but the thing is, 90% of my time is usually working for people that'll never pay me. So you add that, I mean, thousands.
All right. Well, how does Superhuman Fathers start? Like, where did the idea come from? Kind of take us through the origin story of Superhuman Fathers.
It's like a magic dream, my friend. It's one of those things where you create it in your mind and it happens. Kind of like the other day, if you've been following my stories or whatever, I had that skateboard trick I've been trying for 10 years. That I went to my son and I was like, hey, today is the day I'm going to do the kickflip pivot fakie, and it's going to happen, and there are no excuses. It has to happen. No matter how long I'm going to be out here, it has to happen. Or will you help me? Will you film it? He's like, yeah, I'm in. I was like, it might take 3 days. It might take a week. You'll have to sit in that chair. We'll just have to plug the phone in and just keep going. So it's like, I'm down. And so I created this story in my head of a massive battle with my body and mind to just land this stupid trick that I've been dreaming of. The problem is when you do the kickflip and you catch it with your back trucks on the mini ramp, which is like a quarter pipe. If you know about skateboarding, it's a ramp. There's coping. You catch your back trucks on it. Normally your body moves and you go forward and you go, you're going to go forward. But this, you catch your back trucks and then you turn it and go backwards. So it's like this untwisting of your body that I couldn't really wrap my head around. And so the battle commenced, and about a half hour in, I was like, this ain't going to happen. I'd already crushed my hip, my ribs, my tailbone. I was limping. There's something going on with my right knee. I was like, fuck, dude, we're only 30 minutes in. And we just kept, I was like, I will literally destroy my body today to get this. And so we went another 30 minutes, and I started getting a couple that were like almost close-ish. And then, but then it started to fade, and I started getting worse, and my back started hurting. I'm just going like, no. At so many moments I almost was like good enough and threw in the towel, and I was like, no, man, I committed. And so I kept going, and about I think it was like 80 or 90 minutes in, I just like threw it and it caught, and my body was in the perfect position, and I just brought it back in, and it was just like glorious.
It was it.
The reason why I tell that story is because life is just like this. We create a moment, a story in our mind. How bad I wanted that story. And I kept thinking that maybe that story would just be me failing this time. But I was like, no, we have to create a winning story right now. Like, I want to create a story of my life where I create something in my mind and I make it happen through grit, tenacity, and through this attitude of I will not quit until it is done. And I thought about, that was emotional for me because that's how Superhuman Fathers was built. It was built, I mean, you know how many people would just doubt what I was doing and rip on what I was doing and tell me that I'm not the guy.
I'm sure it was plenty of people that were even really close to you at the time too.
All of them.
Yeah.
Most of them. I had a couple really close people that really believed in what we were doing, but most people are like, what are you doing? Who do you think you are, man? And I don't know who I am. That's the problem. I just know I'm pulled and guided and led to do something great to help people. And so I'm willing to take all your bullshit. If I could just help one goddamn person out of the darkness, that's it. So I'll take a world of hate if I can just take somebody who was frustrated and lost like I was and free him.
Man, that's so true. Because I mean, that's a
do.
lot of what we do here too. We want to just, definitely we do this for ourselves because it's a great outlet. It's something we've really wanted to do. But it's really, if we can help one person, make one dude's life easier, help them find some direction through our story, through our lived experience, that helps them just pull themselves through to do that, take that one step they need to in that right direction, to start making those changes, to start doing something different, to start being a better husband, being a better father, being a better friend, coworker, whatever it is, be a better person, whatever it is. If we can help them do that, take that first step, then, it's all worth it in the end,
Yeah, and then you get a taste of one, and then you're like, let's get 5, and then you're like, let's get 20. Let's get
yeah, you just get hungry.
Let's get a million. Let's get a million. Let's get them
All
all.
of them.
Let's get them all.
Yeah, I really liked how you phrased that earlier. Between the whole skate trick, it's like a battle between you and it. You know what I mean? And it's like your whole life's a war. You got to choose your battles and choose not to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Choose to win it.
And building something creative or a business, or building your body, or losing fat, or or doing a creative pursuit, or writing music, or writing a book, or building a relationship, all these things that give color and beauty to our lives, there's so much resistance to it. And there's so many moments of doubt, and is this worth it? And is it going to happen? And I choose now just to believe. Just believe. Because when you believe, others will believe. It's as simple as that. And when you believe and others believe, your belief goes out the roof. And then when you believe that strongly, guess what you're going to do? You're going to do the work necessary in order to get what you want. And so it all starts with this place where you're like, I don't care. I'm going to do this. And I know at some point it will come to fruition. And, and so that's what happened with Superhuman Fathers. I just wouldn't take no for an answer from anybody. Even now, like, get on a call with me. It's going to be very difficult to say no to not join Superhuman Fathers. You're either going to have to say yes, or you're going to have to lie, or you're going to have to hang up. That's it. Like, because you're going to want to join us. That's it. When you talk to me, you're going to be like, I have to do this. because I know now how powerful it is for men's lives and fathers. Now they need a tribe. And if they don't have a tribe, and they're fatter than they want to be, and they're not as disciplined as they want to be, and their marriage isn't out the roof on fire, and they are not the absolute exemplary leader to their kids, they need to join us. And nobody can do that without a tribe. Nobody can do that without accountability. You won't.
True. We talked to someone yesterday. Is that he said he couldn't have done what he did and gotten to the point he has with his business without having like someone he's accountable to, like a peer mentor, just someone that they really respect and look up to and that they believe in, that's going to hold them accountable, that they don't want to let down.
Dude, if you're trying to build a business and you're not willing to invest in coaching, you're an idiot. Like, I skyrocketed so fast because, Wes Watson's my man. Like that guy implanted belief in me. And now I work close with Garrett White with Wake Up Warrior. Andy Elliott is such a beast, that dude. The Elliott group. Oh my God. Like those 3 guys. Dude, I'm $300,000 deep the last 2 years in my own personal development, which is why we'll make at least $2 million this year.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a fireman. So like, if you want to level up, you have to invest in yourself. But people are so afraid because they're like, is it going to pay off? Is this the one? A lot of times people hit me up. They're like, hey, so should I work with Wes? And I'm like, you heard my story, right? You're like, yeah, but is it going to work for me? And, is that, I just want to make sure that, it works. I'm like, bro, education is nonstop.
True.
So it's like, it's not a one-stop shop. You're not just going to go work with one coach and then all of a sudden you're a friggin' millionaire. They're going to give you a piece of something. And that's going to light you up. Like Wes is my foundation. He gave me belief. He gave me an understanding of like who I am and how to be authentic with myself. That was so important. At some point when you believe so much, you can give that belief to someone else because you've earned it. You can't give what you haven't earned. So he gave that to me and then I became the source, right? So now I can give that belief to others. That's what I got from him. And if you can get that from Big West, dude, you're going to crush life.
Yeah.
So, and then I take other things from other people that I work with, but like you have to have a coach, you have to have a tribe. You have to come join Superhuman Fathers if you're a dad. Like you have to. Otherwise, we're just going to pass you up, like by far.
Yeah. I mean, the results speak for themselves, but you mentioned something there that, people will come to you. Sure, a lot of dads will come to you and be like, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Like, is it worth it for me to invest in myself? Like, is that, would you say, the top, or with that, or along with that, what are some of the other top reasons, dads are afraid to invest in themselves or to take those steps, or what are they struggling with?
Accountability. Yeah, they're actually afraid of what they might have to fall through with. And then they're also afraid of this fake thing called failure because they've failed in the past, but really they didn't fail. They just quit. Right. So there is a fear that they'll quit again, which is why, like, I just got off a call with a guy, 6'3", 335 pounds. And he's, he heard me on, Ethan Suppley's podcast. He's a guy from, remember the Titans? Yeah. He's a big dude, big white dude, and then lost a ton of weight and got jacked. So like I was on his podcast, so this guy heard it and then hit me up, and like this guy he got to 335 pounds, right? Like he got there. So now he's in this position where he's talking to me, and I'm like, everything changes now, bro. Like, it's time to come be hungry with me. Like, time to put those things on the altar that you run to when you're stressed. When you need that dopamine scratch. You and me are going to sit in this place and we're not going to get that dopamine scratch. We're going to sit here and suffer together, and we're going to get used to it so that it doesn't bother us anymore. We overcome it. That's what we're going to do. So when he hears that, he's excited, but at the same time, he's terrified because he has these addictions that are grasping onto him. In fact, he still hasn't texted me back his credit card because he had to go to his office. Then he hit me up and he's like, oh, I got to go home to get the one I'm going to use. And I sent him a video. I was like, watch out, dude. Devil's going to try and grab your heart and make you go eat something and just drown it away and then be like, oh, what was I thinking? I don't need to do this.
Yeah, it's like it's this pain versus pleasure, Sometimes those dopamine hits, they come in so many different forms, whether it's eating out or, porn, or who knows where it's coming from. But usually it's probably not a good source. It's not a healthy source to where you could find dopamine hits in other ways, because there are healthy dopamine hits out there, Yeah.
And I mean, the itch is always going to be there, dude. Like, because I mean, if you think about it, like, like when you get off this call, like you're gonna walk in your kitchen and your brain's gonna be like, eat something. You're gonna be like, well, I don't really need. Like you've already ate lunch. You're like, I don't need food, but your brain's like, just eat something. Eat something in your mouth. And you're just like, maybe grab some chips or something, right? And then you're like, maybe a soda. And then you're like, well, grab a couple of these Oreos too while I'm sitting here working.
Yep.
You know, and you're just like eating for one reason only, to scratch the itch. That's it. Right? And so when you get it's so habitual with scratching the itch, you always run to it whenever you're tired, you're hungry, you're stressed. Then when there's celebrations and everyone's happy, what do? We eat more.
Yep.
You know, every holiday it's like candy and cookies and cake, and it's like we just jam sugar down our throats when we're sad, when we're stressed, when we're celebrating. It's like everything. And then what do? We teach our kids to just completely be addicted to all this bullshit. So my whole brain is getting blown right now as I'm getting more deeper into this and pulling away from all my addictions and watching like Easter come by and everything's chocolate candies and marshmallows. And it's like the kids are just
all about it.
And we're just getting to this buzz and getting high. Everybody's getting high on outside sources. Kids, we're making our kids high. Like, and we think we're doing them a favor. We're actually giving them an addiction they're going to have a hard time with for their whole life. That's crazy.
No, you're right.
And it's crazy. Very counterculture. And it's actually like, if you say it out loud, they're like, oh, you're just, man, you're over the top. Am I? Like, am I really though? If we really look at the problem of obesity.
No, you're completely right. You're level-headed. I mean, you have a realistic scope on it. You know, it's just the mindset and it's the scope that you're looking at it through. It's like, well, I could allow my kids to take all this garbage into their bodies, or I could teach them that that's not what these holidays are really about. Teach them. I mean, the whole meaning of Easter, you reference it. It's about Christ. You know, it's about God. It's about Christianity. It's about religion. It's not about candy and a bunny that drops eggs in your yard. You know,
dude, I always thought this was hilarious. Like even on Christmas, you know, it's like the celebrating the birth of Jesus, and everyone's just hammered, stuffing their fat faces, just chocolate all over their face and candy, having acid reflux, puking in their sleep on Christmas Eve, like trying to sleep, like tossing and turning, throwing up, and it's like, thanks Jesus for giving us this opportunity to get hammered and puking.
Right. And it's like Thanksgiving, same time. It's time to be grateful and have gratitude and be grateful for all the things that you've been given. New Year's is the time to celebrate, you know, you living another year. It's a time of celebration of life and joy and all these things. And every holiday has a much deeper meaning, like 4th of July. You know, we're celebrating the independence. We're celebrating all these people who died for us by, like you said, getting hammered, getting wasted, gorging ourselves.
Yeah, getting stupider, getting fatter, and then destroying our relationships too, because everybody gets drunk on the holidays and then the families all fight.
Yeah. No, you're right. So no, I don't think it's crazy personally, because I mean, it's how
it feels crazy though. Like being raised this way, doesn't it kind of feel a little crazy?
Absolutely.
It feels like it just feels like weird to
it feels wrong. Like,
and I'm like, where do I stand on this? I'm like, because any candy for my kids is not good for them. Any. So it's like, but I'm not going to be I'm in this place where I'm like, I'm not going to be this controlling dad that doesn't that shields them from the world. Like, I want them to figure this out on their own by teaching correct principles. And then, but I don't want to facilitate it.
Yeah. I don't want to be the reason that they get fat and love candy so much, but I also don't want to be a dad that's like, oh, my dad's so strict, I can't even have a fucking piece of chocolate.
Totally. Because then you're just, it's like unrelatable. So and then I want my teenagers, if they smoke weed with their friends, I want them to be like, Dad, I tried weed and it was kind of weird. And I was like, oh, really? What did you feel? Okay, cool. So, what's your plans with it? I don't know. I'm thinking I'll maybe do it once in a while. Okay.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and have that conversation.
Yeah, what are the good things? What are the good things that are going to come from this? And then what are the possible pitfalls? And then what restraints should you put on this so that you protect yourself? And what would be the best route? Because we're just looking at trade-offs now.
Yeah.
Right? Trade-offs and discipline to make sure you get what you want. So then you go back with your kids and you're like, all right, what do you want out of life? What do you want? What do you want to what do you want to grow into? Not what do you want to like do for work, but like what do you want in your life? Like maybe they want like, kids are weird. Maybe they're like, man, I want like all the Air Jordans in the world, and you're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to make a lot of money.
A lot of money,
right? Like in order to make a lot of money, what are you gonna have to do? I'm gonna have to work really hard. Okay, you're gonna have to work really hard and work really what?
Yeah.
Smart. Yeah, I tell my kids that all the time. Okay, so now when you smoke weed, is that gonna help you to work hard and work smart? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. They're probably gonna say, probably not for most people. Some people might argue when they're high, they work better. Sure, anomalies.
Yeah.
Most are going to be a little lazier, might be creative, but the application part is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So like that's a trade-off. When I talk to my kids about this kind of stuff, I want them to come to their own conclusions. I want to sit here like as a patient father and ask questions and help them come to their own conclusions without losing my mind or having a preconceived judgment that they're afraid to talk to me. And that's like the same thing with like little kids and candy. It's like teach them through questions and understanding,
Yeah, no, and
yeah, you kind of have to be the one that pulls that veil back, you know what I mean, to help them see what stuff really is about, and just like what we were talking about earlier, like the holidays and, just our style of living in the US, like everything's based around partying and, get together. What do you do when you get together? You eat. What do you do when you're eating? You drink. What do you do when you drink? You have a good time. And then, like you said, the families fight. It's like once you pull back that veil, it really opens your eyes up and you get to see, okay, if I indulge in this, like you said, my drawbacks are, I'll have a good time, but, I won't be healthy for it. I'll gain weight. I'll throw myself out of ketosis, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And
it takes you 3 days to kind of recover, and you're trying to get you're on a workout program, and you're trying to stay consistent, and you drink too much. Like, it's already hard enough.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's hard. Some days are really hard to get my ass to the gym. I'm like, man, if I was hungover right now, there's no way I would go. There's no way.
Yeah. But it's like, that's that trap that's been set for us, and it's like, be a good little boy or be a good man and go, live your life in that matrix. And it's like, once you break out of that, it's so hard, trying to pull the veil back for people and show them, let alone your kids, you know what I mean? Your kids, it's like a fine line you have to walk, because if you show them too soon, it just fucks them up.
Yeah, you can't be compulsive. Like, you can't force anything on anyone. It has to be their idea. Yeah. And the only way it's going to be their idea is if you help them create the story that they believe and understand that it's not good for them. And so,
you have to have that conversation with them. It's about having that conversation with your kids, especially young kids, and teaching them, like, it's not that you can't have it. It's just you need to learn, like, you can do whatever you want. Like, you can eat all that candy, but this is how you're going to feel after. Or how are you going to feel after you do that? How is that going to make your body feel? Are you going to feel good about yourself or bad about yourself? Especially for Aaron and I, we both have girls. We have 4 girls between us, so it's a lot of body image stuff as they continue to get older, and, teaching positive body positivity. There we go. I can use words, but it's all kind of stemming back to how are you going to feel later? How's that going to benefit you? And I really like how you put that, tying it to their long-term goals, what they really want out of life, and then bringing it all the way back down to this moment. Is, okay, you keep doing that. How is that going to help you toward your long-term goal of owning every Air Jordan 1 ever created? Or is that going to hold you back in some capacity at some point later? So I love that, like, full circle moment there. It's like, oh, well, I have to think about that now because it was fun in the moment, but it's not really going to benefit me or things like that. So.
Yeah, and another thing also that I've been having to break down to my young one too is just the difference between like expensive brands and a Walmart brand. Just like showing her that it's the same thing. It's just this one has a stitching on it that says Nike, and this one doesn't have that. And she's starting to see it. And I allocate her a little $20. When we go to the store, do you want to buy one shirt, one Nike shirt, or you can buy, 6 little kitty shirts from Walmart with, what you actually like on them. It's everything, dude. It's not just, your diet. It's not just your activity. It's literally every aspect of life has been set up for you to be trapped. And
like,
it's just
when you're young and you go to Vegas, all you see is like magic. You're just like, oh my God, look at the lights. It's magic. Look at this magic place. You get older, you get smarter. You're like, look at this facade. Look at this. Look at all this stuff that's built to get me to purchase things. That's what this is. This big money maker. And then you're like, dude, this is you see the infrastructure. You see the sewers. You're like you see it for what it is, And that's also like as you get older and wiser as a husband, as a young dad, when my freaking testosterone was out the roof, it was hard for me not to look at like other chicks and like I got married young, so I'd be like, man, did I miss out? Like I got married so young, and I would see these other women and kind of just like almost be like dreaming about what if. And then as I got older, I started to see the facade of just skin and body. It means nothing in that context. It's like, it's just a shape of a person, a soul.
Yeah.
And so it's a different view of women as I've gotten older. And my wife, I even view my wife different. So there's less of an attraction to something that seems magical when now I understand it's just these different shaped bodies and faces and hair colors that cause a chemical reaction in my brain to get my attention. And so that's happening. Now you can call it out and be like, no, I'm not missing out on anything at all.
Yeah.
And then the world tries to trick you that you are, but you're not, because we all know that therein, I've worked with enough men that have made that decision to go out on their wives the wrong direction. And it always comes back, oops, that was a mistake.
Yeah, like it looks great on the surface, but I mean, once you actually get in that situation, like, yeah, the sex was good, it was fun, maybe it was a little hot and steamier, but
now you have to live with this, like I'm a piece of shit.
You have to live with that in your head and in your mind, and now you're just like, well, I fucked up, can't go back, and I lost more than I actually gained out of that. And she had very little to offer me in terms of, depth to her personality beyond her boobs. Like, yeah, the boobs are great. Sex was great, but there's dumb as a rock. Like, I've been divorced for 2 years now, and I definitely had my own hoe phase a little bit. Nothing crazy, but I dated a lot of women, went on a lot of dates, met a lot of people. But at the end of it, I've been single now for, I'm not even using dating apps at this point, the last like 4 or 5 months, because it's just not worth it. It's like the women I've met and connected with through these apps are inorganically, they're very shallow. Like, they're very shallow. They have very little depth to their personality. Yeah, they're hot. Okay, so what? I know hot women that have great intelligence, depth to their personality, are smart as can be. That's what's attractive to me. Like, yes, they're physically attractive, but what they can offer emotionally, mentally, spiritually, the intangible things, that's beautiful. That is their beauty.
Isn't it weird that you could be married to like such an incredible woman, beautiful, smart, and successful, and yet the man's mind always starts to wander?
Yeah. Like, I think it's just a chemical. It's just how we're made as men, It's just like we're dumb.
Yeah, dumb. It's like I've told Jewel this before, but myself and my wife, we went through a phase where I messed up. I went out. I had something on the side, and it was both the biggest mistake of my life and one of the best things I ever did, because the way it fortified my mind and changed the way I think about things. Especially having 2 daughters now, like there's no way in hell. And even my wife knows this. There's nothing in the world that's gonna make me ever do that again.
Yeah.
Just seeing everything become so unstable. Everything erode away so quickly. Like I never ever want to do that ever again. But at the same time, on the opposite side of that token, it's also opened up my eyes to see that, all the qualities that I love in my wife. She's loyal.
Yeah.
She's there all the time whenever I need her. She's everything I've ever wanted. But, back then I was just so
The magic.
tired, and
Magic
the
got
magic
you.
was gone. So, I didn't want to work anymore. I didn't want to work hard at the relationship. I just wanted to go find something quick and new,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, we had to go through it, but like I said, it was one of the best mistakes I've ever made.
Yeah, it's crazy how these moments in life, as we go and we really fuck stuff up, if used appropriately, can skyrocket your wisdom and understanding. And if reacted to appropriately, I think it's rad that you are so open to share that stuff, because like that's what men need. Like they need to hear the truth and the real stories and the real temptations and the real hardships, or else they won't.
It's hard to relate if you're not sharing that stuff. Like my divorce was caused not because of I was on the other side of that picture. I was the one that was where the infidelity happened to me. I'll phrase it like that, just for people listening and stuff that might not know the whole story, that are close to me and whatnot. But I'm not ever going to go down that or go deep into that. But that's what I learned from all that. Going through the divorce because of those reasons, and among other reasons, there was plenty other reasons on top of that. But for me, that's when I really started to understand myself and where I screwed up as a partner, to where I was a bad husband, to where I had fucked up, it wasn't great, to where now I've changed these things, and now I look at women a whole lot differently. Because I got married really young. That was 7 years ago. I was 21 when we got married, 21, 22 when we got married, and now looking back, it's like, damn, when I do that again, because it's a win, because something I want, so I'm going to be intentional about it. But all in due time, all in the right timing, whatever God has in store as far as that aspect. But I know what I'm not going to do. I know what I'm not looking for, but I know what I'm looking for, and I know the things that are really going to matter and really make or break the next marriage. Because if she, doesn't check these boxes, or have these things, then it's like she's not the one. She could have.
Yeah. How old are you, Jay?
I'm 28. I just turned 28 a couple of days ago.
Cool. Yeah, and on the other token of that, like a really powerful mindset to have going into the future. I work with a lot of guys that are in the process of divorce or recently divorced, single dads, and we do like to talk about these check boxes that they need to fit, but what are the check boxes that you need to fit for that?
Exactly.
Right. And so that's one of the things we talk about and focus on, is like who do you want her to be married to? No,
and that's a lot of what I'm working on, and this other side project I have going on right now that I'm writing. It's called the Well Balanced Dad Diet. There's pieces of that where I explicitly mention, like, take it from the divorce guy that didn't do this, and this is what I'm going to do next time. Yeah. This is what's going to happen the next and the last time I'm in this situation. I'm going to talk about these problems through. I'm going to open up and be more open to my spouse. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be more communicative. I'm going to, settle. I'm going to walk away when I need to walk away. And then I'm going to come back when I'm calmed down. I'm going to talk about it calmly. I'm going to have that discussion with her. We're going to, open up and talk about, why we said something. We're going to dive into that why. We're not going to hide it. We're not just going to brush it under the bed. We're going to say, I said that because, or I feel this way because, or I feel, use those healthy communication skills that we learn in grade school, I statements, take that accountability, don't assess the blame, but all these different things. So, it's crazy what that situation can teach you when you're on either side of it, whether you're the one that it happened to or the one that did it, because you realize so many things about yourself throughout that process.
Yeah, and then you realize, like, every human's just dealing with their own pain and trying to figure it out.
And we're all going through something. Like, I'm sure for you, you've seen a lot of dads come from a lot of different walks of life. for you in your business, what you guys do for you and your wife, how do you guys find balance for your guys' relationship? How do you guys build that time in for each other? Because y'all are both busy. I do know that y'all make a concerted effort to go and work out together. That's a daily thing. In your post, I follow her on Instagram as well. I see it in her post. And I think it's awesome because that's something that brings you guys together. You guys push each other. You're accountable to each other. And I love that. But beyond that, what do you guys do? What's part of your guys' secret sauce to being married for 20 years?
Yeah, like, and fairly happily for most of it. So we've had some rough
Of course,
years
that's every marriage.
where we kind of turned into like business partners or roommates, you know. And it's so easy for it to turn into this blah. It's so easy because I blame myself because that's the only thing you can do, right? Like if you want to change a relationship, it's on you. Whether you're a woman or a man, it's on you. I usually speak to men, so I speak to men and tell them, "This is you. This is your fault. This is your responsibility." And they say, "Well, what about her responsibility?" And I'm like, "This is your problem."
Yep.
See, the fact that you reacted like that is your problem.
Yeah, you got to point the finger inward. You have to point it at yourself. You have to own up to the shit that you did because you had a part in it. It takes two to get divorced.
Yeah,
there was issues
like
stemming from both sides.
It's your like this is your video game, like your life, right? So everyone else is a character in your game. So you can choose to leave or you can choose to stay. You choose to stay, you're accepting all the bullshit that comes along with that, which means it's all your fault. Because if it's not, then fucking leave.
Yeah.
Right? Simple as that. So if we decide to stay, then we have to take responsibility. And don't think I got this all figured out. But what I do have is a heightened awareness of when we're disconnected. And so we go to the gym every morning together. But that's not enough. It's not enough. There still has to be, and here's why it's not enough, because I like to bro out with my wife. And at the gym, it's really easy to be like, Knuckles, hell yeah, fuck yeah, bro. Come on, don't be a pussy. You know, like, we talk to each other like that, right? It can't just be that. So it's cool that we're friends. It's cool that we hang out. But she wants like a sweet, connecting, loving, kind, soft, like, man, who's also a fucking dangerous savage. But with her, she wants me to soften up. I have a hard time with this, as you can probably imagine.
You look like a big old teddy bear, dude. I bet with your kids and your wife, I bet behind closed doors in your home when there's no cameras on, I bet you're the biggest teddy bear there is. I mean, that's okay, you know.
Well, you'll see it when the cameras are on too. But I don't hide anything from the Instagrams. Everything's out on the table. But yeah. So what I had a coach the other day, Garrett White. He told me, I was talking to him about this grind we have with our wives. Like there's this wall of pride that every day we have to kind of break through to get to each other. It's like this fight to like smash this wall and crawl through and like, okay, I got you. I'm here. Whereas with my daughter, there's no wall. It's easy. It's just flowing. So I was like, what is that? What is that thing keeps me from just flowing to her easily? And I thought maybe just built up kind of resentment over the years, a little bit of like maybe something she said 10 years ago. I don't know. But I think a lot of it has to do with this grind that we're in, because we're in this, life's hard. And we have so much responsibilities. I mean, she's got 100 clients. I've got almost 500. We have 5 kids. You know, we've got it's like that's in a business of itself. We're doing all these events now. We're part of all these coaching groups. It's just insanity. And so I think all the time there's a certain level of like, sometimes when Marley needs a freaking diaper change, like I might wait a few seconds to see if she's got it because I'm like working on something rather than just being like, boom, I got it. Right. And I'll go through phases where I'm really good with that. And then I'll kind of like start being just a touch lazy enough to where she's faster than me. You know what I mean? And I'm finding that these little moments of holding back my service to her is creating this barrier. And so when I break through that desire to not take care of her at that level, then I feel more connected to her. The other thing is morning text messages have been huge, massive. Like, good morning, I love you, you're the best.
Simple. It's simple. It's simple.
Every day. Date nights planned by me. When I started planning them, our relationship changed massively. Like, huge. Like get a restaurant, you book it, have them put roses and candles on the table, something stupid like that. A lot of restaurants, you just pay like $25 and they'll put like a candle and roses or something.
That's cool.
So then everyone thinks it's your anniversary, but like or like my wife had always talked about going dancing, and I always blew it off. Like, I don't dance. And I was like, that's dumb, dude. Let's do it. So I booked dancing lessons with my wife. Now we go every week to a dancing lesson.
That's amazing.
I fucking hate it. But it's really fun with my wife. It turned out to be really fun.
Dude, and can you speak on like how intimate that is? Because I've experienced dancing before, and it's, dude, I mean, very, very, very intimate. You know,
take your wife, learn how to dance. Take your wife dancing. Like, very few. There are some guys that are like, oh yeah, we do that. But it's very rare, and it's like, and then some women don't want to do it either. Some women are like, I'm not doing that. That's fine too. But most chicks want to do it. Most guys don't. And it's like, it's a pretty cool thing to just have a weekly lesson you go to. It's like 45 minutes or an hour. You just go and dance with your wife, and it's a really cool standing date. And now that's actually taken over to the point where it's not even a date for us anymore. It's just something that we do. So now we have the workouts in the morning. We do a once a week dance lesson, then we do a once a week date. And I plan those now because for like almost 20 years, she planned all the dates forever. I was an idiot for that long. So like, it's crazy what happens when you start planning outings, vacations, dates, and you do it. It's this amazing mind fuck for your wife.
Yeah.
You know, and then the other thing I tell guys is, which it's hard for me. Like I was talking about, I say get weird every day. And get weird means you have to have a moment with your wife where you just look her in the eyes, and almost to the point where she's like, what are you looking at? You know, and just tell her how you feel. Just tell her thank you, how much you love her, and like how proud you are of her. If you do that every day, you have just one moment of connection. You send that text. You plan dates and outings. You know, you're going to stay connected. You're still going to have struggles and fights and stuff, but who cares? Struggles and fights are just part of a relationship. Just because you fight doesn't mean you're in a bad marriage. You could be in a very healthy and amazing marriage and still fight all the time. It's okay. You know?
True.
It's just, you know, I'm married to a Puerto Rican, so like, there's going to be some spice.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel you, brother. I feel you.
But no, Kyle, no, that's some great advice there. So to wrap up here, what's like the one biggest piece of advice that you would give to a father who's struggling mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, just struggling? They're just plain old fucking struggling. They can't get over the hump. They're stuck. They're miserable. They're depressed, which is probably a lot of the clients that you where they start, you know, they're stuck. They need to change. That one piece of advice that you're giving to that dude, you know, from the heart. What's that one piece of advice you're giving them?
Find a tribe with positive individuals that are pressing forward and holding each other accountable. That's the one piece of advice. Otherwise, you can't do this on your own. You'll be miserable. You got to be around people like myself and my people that will light your life on fire just by being in our presence. And you'll start to see things differently. You'll start to change the story of, what about me time? The kids, I lost my life. No. You'll start looking at those kids very different and start looking at yourself different as you show up in power for them as this like disciplined, badass, unstoppable motherfucker that will crush everything in its path and yet is so sweet and approachable and kind and forgiving and loving at the same time. You be that man for your family and you selflessly serve your wife and your children as this honor to be their father. It's a different story.
True. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on with us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time for us, holding the space. I think I'm going to go run through a wall real quick, and then give the wall a hug after.
I always say, walk around like this, but then give out hugs at the same time.
I love that. I think I'm going to start doing that. If I get a misdemeanor, I'll let you know. But no, seriously. In all seriousness, thank you so much for coming on. It's appreciated. We loved having you. Love connecting with you. If you guys aren't already, go and follow Kyle on Instagram, Superhuman Fathers. You can find everything he does there. You can find his wife, their podcast, their businesses, their coaching, all of their resources. They're all there on Instagram. You can see Kyle eat shit on the mini ramp, quarter pipe, whatever it is. You can see him eat shit over and over and over again. Laugh, feel bad for him a little bit at the same time, but yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on. We loved having you. Yeah, we'll be back with you guys next week.